2 people waiting. Holy shit. Two people are already here, Florabelle. Shining an interrogation lamp into my own face again. There we go. Yes, I had cause to remember today. I'm just gonna bring the mic up here. Hello. Today I was remembering when I wore my hair like this. It made me nostalgic, so I'm wearing my hair like this again. Except it's just a bunch of synthetic fibers from, like, pretend horses, I guess. Instead of real horsehair. Where do they get them? What manner of beast is Sean to produce such locks? It was expensive having hair that colour. But times were different. Okay. I read online a book called Let Me Tell You How I Died, aka The Diary. And it's not... I've read it for the first time since I was like a child. An actual child. And it's not as good as I remember, because I remember it being like, whoa, holy shit, the ideas in this book, they're changing me. But basically this young girl finds a diary. She reads it, and as she's reading it, she realizes she wrote it in her past life when she was murdered on the very day that she now was born. Which really makes you wonder what was inside the baby before the murder. Like, nothing? Don't know. But it wasn't making any kind of deliberate statement on fetal development. So she works out that somebody's trying to kill her again. Yeah, it sucks. It's really dumb. But it was pretty interesting when she went to the cemetery and was like, I was standing over the hole in the dirt where my coffin was, and my own murdered body was inside it, and I was like, holy shit, is that possible? Like, I thought reincarnation made total sense, but I was like, oh my god, are you even allowed to do that? To stand that close to your own, like, dead body from your previous life? It blew my mind anyway. It was not difficult. I'm tired. And I may have to swap this wig out if I can't see it from under it. But we'll see how we go. So, quick Am I back? Yep, it says I'm back. OBS disconnected itself for no reason. Yeah, I didn't think I knew who Norm Macdonald was, but it turns out he's the guy who plays Burt Reynolds on Celebrity Jeopardy on Saturday Night Live, so I did know, but I'm gonna do some more research. Look into him a little bit more. Because I'm tight to me. So, yes, and Let Me Tell You How I Died. Oh, Summon Evelyn, yeah. In the book, Let Me Tell You How I Died, do you want me to spoil the ending? Because maybe I'll just read it on here, I don't know. Alright, I'll spoil it. A little bit. The killer is one of the only 2 adults mentioned who are old enough to have been around then. There's only 2 of them. There are vague references to parents and grandmas and stuff, but there are only 2 actual characters. The killer's one of them. It always is. That's why it's quite hard to watch Supernatural sometimes, because it's like, oh, okay, there's a mystery in a small town and there are like 2 people that you've spoken to and one of them is dead now. Could it be? Could it be? But I'm not as annoyed with them because those dudes canonically spend a lot of time in really small rooms spray painting shit on the walls. So I don't expect their deductive reasoning to be, you know, the best. So last time, previously on Deadly Offer, Althea was like, no, you can't have Becky, piss off, I hate you. And Becky was actually not taken by the vampire because his dark path was not complete. And the vampire is just, and Althea's like, you know, fuck you, suck me 500 times, I hate you. And he goes, I won't go back where I came from, which she thinks he should do, despite knowing that the vampire was here long before the house. I won't go back where I came from, you are the one who will go back where she came from, go back to being invisible, inaudible, unloved, and unpopular. And she shrugged, but then the vampire's like, even Ryan will not know your name. Ryan, who's so... a boy. So Althea says, get lost, and now he smiled. A smile of joy. The evil crescent covered the entire bottom of his face. Alright, I will get lost, and when you want me back, Althea, I may refuse to come. I'm just glad the vampire doesn't come, you know. It's the only teen book where it's just not on the table. So, Althea's threatened the vampire's threatened Althea, and then we stopped so that I could have something to eat and a bit of a rest, and then I got very, very tired. And then the next day we had D&D, which was amazing, it was so funny. And now we're here. We've only been going for 8 minutes of bullshit, so we got some time. Beautiful flowers. You reckon the blonde is working? I don't know if it is or not. Feels like it's in my face quite a lot. There's like a blonde ghost with highlights in her hair that are all over her face, and she comes out of a TV but just like makes you buy fucking tapered jeans or whatever dumb shit is in fashion. Hydrate. Yep. For once, I'm ahead of you. Coca-Cola, no sugar. It's not Diet Coke. It's not Coke Zero. But it's the thing that I have. It looks alright? Okay. Because, you know, it's not like I have a shortage. I have a shortage of red. But, everything else is fine. I don't have Discord open. Can someone, message Josh and be like, what's up? I don't want him to miss it. And he's probably really, really bored. I'm definitely not friends with any of you, though. was like last night when we were playing D&D. I was just like, yeah, no, only John is my friend out of the whole group. I'm not friends with you guys. I just, you know, feel badness inside me when you have bad emotions happening to you. And when people harm you, I want to go to war. But I don't know what that is. You're already here. You're already here. Josh Fear is here. Josh Good is in the woods. I hope he isn't in the woods. That'd be peculiar. Oh, I gotta sit up and not slouch all the way forward the whole time. Haha, yeah. You're the only friend. The rest of them are just, well, you don't want to be too happy, because you don't know how I define friendship. Oh, what was the oh, there was a tweet that I did years and years ago that reminds me of the character that, hello everybody who is not our D&D group, the character that John's playing, or has played, recently. Let me see. There we go. I'll paste that in chat. It's really funny to give people pseudonyms when their full names are on here. Cousins? You mean there are more goods? Power through evil, power through evil, power through evil. And breathe out. Okay, I'm not doing that right now. We can start without the other Josh. So, the vampire has threatened. Althea has threatened. There have been threats going on. Chapter 23. In the morning, her car did not start. Walking was so humiliating. If you couldn't be popular, you should at least have transportation. But I am popular, thought Althea, smiling. She called Ryan to ask him to ask Michael to stop and pick her up. But Ryan didn't answer his cell. Why the fuck does Ryan have a cell phone in 1991? He's the drug dealer. Okay. Alright, she told herself. I can walk. One of my friends will see me and stop and pick me up. I'll get teased a bit, but that's okay. Althea walked to school up the long, long hill, facing traffic. The cars of high school kids passed her, but no one stopped to give her a ride. No one waved. No one rolled down a window to yell good morning. The temperature had risen and the crusty snow had turned to slush. Cars flung black filth on her clothing. Althea stepped in an ice puddle and her boots must have had leaks, because her feet were soaked and painfully cold. Josh Good! What's up? Althea cared deeply. Oh, Althea's tried to go to school, her car won't start, and none of her friends are around to give her a ride. Interesting. Althea cared deeply about her appearance. She hated people seeing her dirty and wet. Caroline B. Horny. I don't even have a car so I can go home and change, she thought. I'll ask Ryan to borrow Michael's car and take me home, she decided. Or maybe Kimmy Jo would. Nobody understands the importance of pretty clothes more than Kimmy Jo. But nobody noticed the mud on Althea's clothes. Nobody noticed Althea at all. Nobody called her name. Nobody ran over. Nobody registered the fact that she had walked into the school. Althea went into the girls' room. brushed her hair and straightened herself up as much as possible. She headed slowly to her locker to hang up her coat, mittens and scarf. She was overjoyed to hear her name and turned, laughing, terribly relieved to see who was calling her. Nobody was calling her. 2 junior varsity cheerleaders were striding along behind her. "At least the new season's beginning," said one, giving Althea a look of loathing. "Tryouts for basketball squad will be fair, unlike the last tryouts." Althea lost her breath, as if someone had beaten her up. She whispered, "It was fair. I won it." "It was given to you," said the JV girl. "What experience or background did you have? Yeah, tell me." "Mrs. Rowman was playing favourites," said the other. The girls had matching smirks, ugly, cruel, grasping faces trying to wipe her out of her cheerleading spot. Althea's cheeks were cherry red. "May the best one of us make the squad," she said, trying to be a sportswoman. The girls laughed viciously. "That lets you out. You were no competition for Celeste, and you're no competition for us either." Althea clung to her locker, facing the thin metal closet, waiting for the JV girls to pass on. She pressed her hand against the grey door. A gruesome chill crept up her spine. How long her fingernails had become. The nails were scarlet and extremely pointed. They were claws. They were inhuman. Heart pounding, Althea dropped her coat and scarf and dug through her purse to locate an emery board. What could I have been doing to let them get like that? She thought. They looked evil. And that polish. Althea liked clear polish, or pale pink and slightly glittery. Of course she does. This polish was blood red. She could not think clearly. Far from being drained of blood, Althea felt that she had too much. Gallons of blood, pounding and throbbing and racing through her veins. Her pulse snapped like drum rims. The emery board had no effect on the scarlet weapons at the tips of her fingers. The nails stayed sharp and pointed and tooth-like. Have I become a vampire? With my hands I turn Celeste and Jenny over, and on my hands you can see the proof. She curled her fingers into fists to hide the evil nails. A dozen lockers away, Becky chatted with Dusty. "Oh, I'm really excited about tryouts, aren't you?" said Becky. "It's always fun to beat the competition." "Hi, Becky," Althea called. "She's my best friend," thought Althea. Becky looked briefly Althea's way. "Hey," she said, without enthusiasm. Dusty said, "This time we'll get a real cheerleader. It's too bad Celeste is still feeling low. I'd like to see her back. She was fun." "Oh, didn't we have a great team last fall?" Becky agreed. "Yeah, he's like the clown from It, but gross looking." "Look, Bill Skarsgård played the clown, okay? I would. I'm not apologizing." I'm not. Althea struggled with the log. What was the combination anyway? She opened her English notebook to the front page, where she'd scribbled it down on the first day of school. She could hardly remember right from left to make the silly thing turn. Dusty said, "People who can't even open their lockers are hardly varsity material." Althea quivered as if she were jello. Somebody had touched her with a spoon. "Becky," she whispered. "Becky, please." "Althea," said Becky, irritably. "Later, okay? I'm busy." Becky walked away. "No," called Althea in her heart, in her soul. "No, Becky's my friend." Althea focused on hanging up her coat. She achieved it. She focused on putting her scarf and mittens on the little shelf. She chose the right books to get her through the morning. And she said to herself, Becky's moody. Doesn't actually mean anything. I'm okay. It's all still over. It's all still okay. Sorry. She wet her lips and took a desperate breath, quieting her fears. I really wished they wouldn't use that phrase so often. Sometimes I changed it too. She licked her lips just because it's so gross to me and it's used so much. But anyway. Down the hall came Ryan. Ryan. She expanded like a flower in the morning sun. All that was within her turned golden, and when she spoke his name, the syllables were a song of love. Smiles decorated Althea's soul. Joy trembled on her fingertips. Hi, Ryan, she said. I tried to call you this morning, but you didn't answer. I needed you. She laughed a little. Just seeing him made her so happy she had to laugh. Ryan frowned, as if unsure why she looked familiar. Oh, everyone does it out of fear, so it is pretty gross. In this book. This isn't a book, it's a phone. The book is inside the phone. Ryan frowned as if unsure why she looked familiar. He said, dutifully, as one acknowledging last year's teacher, Oh, hey, how are you, Althea? It was not a question. It was an anonymous greeting. He did not care how she was and did not expect her to answer. Not too good, she said desperately. Ryan, Yeah, see you around, said Ryan meaninglessly. The vampire told her. Yeah, it's going to take her a little while to remember she even has a vampire. Because this girl is an idiot. She had turned back into the... There we go. She had turned back into the boring sophomore with the forgettable face and the blank life. Pain like bread knives with serrated edges soared through Althea's heart. He walked on and was gone, and the hall was empty. Life was empty. She had never believed that all her popularity was the gift of the vampire. She would have the popularity she'd earned on her own. But she'd been wrong. She had nothing because she'd never been anything. She was just a creation of the vampire. She thought of skipping class. She thought of quitting school. But then she would have to do something else. And what would that be? There were no other lives out there for her. She would have to stagger on through this one. That's not relatable. Althea walked on through the halls, which seemed to widen and lengthen, like a trick to test her commitment to staying alive. She passed the athletic department, and on the wall outside Mrs. Rowman's office was a large sheet of yellow paper with a miniature cheerleading outfit and pom-poms tacked to it. Varsity cheerleading tryouts, basketball season, sign-up sheet. Althea studied the names. She knew them all. There were 3 times as many as there were positions on the squad. This time there would be real competition. And the girls who complained that Althea's tryout had been rigged, well, as it turned out, they were proved right, and now had a chance at a fair tryout. Yeah, it's the shilly-shallying that's quite annoying. Then again, she's a teenager. She's got moral object impermanence. She had pencils in her purse. She could add her name to the list. But why? She could never win on her own. And if she went, she would have to face Becky and Kimmy Jo and Dusty, who would ignore her or avoid her, or say vaguely, "What's your name?" And what is my name now? Thought Althea. When nobody knows and nobody cares, perhaps you don't actually have a name. That would be fascinating, wouldn't it, if that's how a vampire is created in this world? When they're completely forgotten and their name leaves them, they turn into a vampire. Not like a dead body, just like an alive, mean person. Yeah, she believed that part of it was the vampire's gift, but part of it was, she earned it all by herself. She really does fascinate Ryan. However, eventually the morning passed. Eventually the clock turned and it was 12 noon and time for lunch. Back where we started. Althea was silent amid the screaming, hungry students. Althea was slow amid the racing feet of starving sophomores. She reached the cafeteria last. All the lines were long. All the tables were packed. Except one. Celeste hunched over a sandwich she was not eating. Jenny stared down into a macaroni casserole she was not touching. Celeste's eyes were cloudy like an old woman's cataracts. Jesus. Jenny's hair, faded and lustreless, fell on her face. They were at the same table, separated by one chair, unaware of one another. The chair beckoned to Althea. "Here's your place," whispered the chair. "Here at the table for outcasts, for nobodies." Althea tried to leave the cafeteria, but a group of kids came in behind her and she was tossed forward, like a duck on an ocean wave, closer and closer to the horrible shore of that chair. "Come," said the chair. "Sit. You earned this chair. Come, sit. Be alone. Forever." End of chapter. But yeah, he's got a lot of power, but the chair was haunted. Oh, what am I going to do about the vampire? "Have you tried a dick in your mouth?" Did that chair just speak to me? And what did it say? No, a chair such as that would not be in a school. I would love point horror in Chuck Tingle to... Well, I guess that's kind of what he already does. I'm gonna sneeze. I'm not gonna sneeze. Oh, I'm not gonna sneeze. Damn it. Where's the pepper? Hang on, let me just check. Shoot, hang on, I gotta get back to chapter 25? 24. Chapter 24, here we go. Snow has beauty. No matter how deep and troublesome, snow is a blanket of loveliness over a harsh world. But instead of snow came sleet. Ice-laden rain that pelted down on a slippery grey world. The sky was blotted out. Kimmy Jo loaded her car with friends and headed for Pizza Hut. Ryan, Michael and Constance got in Michael's car. Constance sat in front, between the two boys. Not one of them called Althea's name. She walked home in the sleet. Wet ice penetrated her scarf and soaked through her mittens. It was downhill, and twice she lost her balance, slipped and fell. On the second fall, she tore the knee out of her pants, and her English notebook fell in an ice puddle. The ink ran. The notes were ruined. She sobbed, but no one glanced out of her car window to see. The towering hemlock hedge around her house was heavy and sagging with old snow and new ice. Tires from passing cars had flung up grime, so each branch was ugly and stained like rust. Althea slipped again on the porch steps. This time, when she got up, her ankle hurt. She had to haul herself indoors by hanging onto the railing. Constance is so perfect. It makes sense that the flip side of her would be the vampire. All perfection, all disgustion. Makes sense. I can't try out for cheerleading now anyway, she thought. My ankle can't bear my weight. I rolled both my ankles cheerleading, and they still hurt when the weather is cold. It's very annoying. She pulled off her wet clothes and took a long hot bath, surrounding herself with bubbles and perfumes. She wrapped herself in a satiny robe with ivory lace and tucked her feet in soft slippies. I was going to be captain, she thought. Mrs. Rowman said so. My future's over before it began. My friends have vanished before I even memorized their phone numbers. My cheerleading uniform will be given to another girl. Nobody will remember I was ever on the squad. I was briefly very distressed just then. I bought mine. I still have it. It's in the other room. She tried to comfort herself with food, but there were no snacks in the house that she could possibly have swallowed. She turned on the television, but the laughter hurt her ears. The talk shows were too bright and chatty. She stood alone in a huge house in a dark valley during a storm. And the phone did not ring. Other people were gathering for pizza and cokes. Other people had friends. Other people mattered. Sorry, friends, I was so busy with this delicious coke. She's alone in that house, yeah. I don't know if her parents are ever mentioned, if it's ever brought up. If they are, I'll be very surprised and happy, but I don't think they are. Hi, Evelyn! Okay, so basically the vampire said, she was like, fuck you, go suck a dick. And the vampire was like, oh, maybe I will, but all your popularity will disappear. And Althea's like, doubt it. And she went to school and all her popularity had disappeared. Like, no one remembered her, no one was nice to her. So she came home. Yeah, I have no idea what happened to the parents, and I can't remember if it comes out in the book. So, ow. Ugh. I need like a medical massager person to have a look at these knots of scar tissue on my arms. Well, the vampires, it's a fair deal. Because the vampire gave her all that shit, and she said, no more victims for you. So I think it's fair that he took them back, you know? Like if I were the Citizens Advice Bureau, or the Ombudsman, I would probably side with the vampire in that, particular transaction. Maybe. Now I'm really curious. Other people gathering for pizza and cokes. That's us. Me and everyone in the chat. Yes. Other people had friends. Other people mattered. Yes. I have algebra to do, she thought. I have to have supper and study for a history test. How can it be that I have a load of laundry waiting? How can it be that I have to open a book, turn a page, and sharpen a pencil? She cried for a long time. Jesus. She did not feel better. It did not change anything. It just made her eyes red and her head ache. She went to bed early. There was nothing else to do. In her dreams, a computer tapped out her death knell. Unseen fingers endlessly typed the closing sentences on Althea. The entire world was clicking, tapping, typing. Althea is over. Althea is over. Althea is over. Oh my god. The X is over hashtag started here. Althea woke up, cheeks wet with tears, hugging the pillows, because there were no warm bodies to hug and there never would be again. Yeah, she killed her parents. With or without the vampire. They did. The vampire continued to tap his fingernails on the foot of her bed. The hollow iron frame vibrated with each click. His fingernails were tarnished and yellowy, like teeth that needed brushing. Althea, shivering beneath a stack of heavy wool blankets, wept again. You don't have to be alone, said the vampire. His voice was rich and contented, like cream soup. What the fuck is cream soup? Or blood. She looked at him through her tears. He was not wearing his cape. He seemed almost not there. He was mostly voice and fingernails. Ugh. Ugh. Where's the rest of him? She thought, swiveling eyes and head like an owl, afraid to turn her back but needing to locate the enemy. I'm sorry you had to suffer today, said the vampire. Sometimes lessons are painful to learn. Have you learned your lesson, Althea? The vampire asked. Yeah, that's a very Lovecraftian description. Actually, no, it's more of an M.R. James style description where you just get a little detail. Like that crouched figure that was busy about the truckle beds. That's those fingers go all the way up. All the way up to the eyeballs. Yeah, it's what she doesn't say that is scary. I love it. Althea held the pillow in the air between them. You may have it back now if you're a good girl, said the vampire. Have what back? Said Althea weakly. His voice whispered through the room like a cat purring. Popularity, he breathed. The cape appeared. It leaned past the vampire's shoulders toward Althea, and this time its edges were velvet and rich. No, she said. The velvet cape settled on the edge of the bed and tucked its edges around her feet to warm them. Ooh. You must keep Becky, the vampire said. You need a friend. Becky will be your friend. She'll have to leave town. Oh, to have Becky back as a friend, to have the phone ring, laughter ring, a friend's voice ring. Althea buried her face in the pillow. And you give me Constance, said the vampire. His cape was as furry as a teddy bear. Wear me, it said silently. This was gross old bits of leather originally. Ugh. Althea pulled her feet up closer to her chest and tucked herself to a little round ball, as far from the cape and the vampire as she could get. Constance, repeated the vampire. Give him Constance? Who was perfect? Who was right for Michael? Who with Michael made a couple she loved? You'll make the basketball squad, said the vampire. You'll be busy and happy, surrounded by friends. But Constance? Ryan will be waiting for you after tryouts, said the vampire. He feels terrible that he was rude today. He cannot imagine why he acted like that. She had no lights turned on, and yet the bedroom had a strange sheen. Pink walls, peach carpet, quilted chair. It all glowed. A new captain will have to be elected, whispered the vampire. She trembled. The most popular girl is always chosen captain, whispered the vampire. You will be the most popular girl. She stared at the lace edge on the pillowcase. How pretty it was. How fragile and how feminine. She touched... Don't sign your posts, Josh Fear. Get it? Because it's like your signature is Ravenous Cockbag, which would be funny if a guy was named that. It would be funny if anyone was named that, is what I mean. Yours sincerely, R. Cockbag, Esquire. Sorry, I'm ruining the fucking story. I'm ruining the mood. Anyway. The lace edge on the pillowcase, she touched it with her fingers. Her cruel scarlet talons nearly tore the lace. She pushed them back into the blankets. I want ordinary fingernails, she thought. Soft, round, pink nails. I would never make another request after Constance, said the vampire silkily. You need only bring Constance into my dark path. She would be popular again, a cheerleader again, have friends again, have Ryan again. Only Constance, she whispered. Their voices matched, airy and bodiless, light and frothy, as if they were talking of nothing, just feathers and dust. Constance, he repeated. The vampire smiled, and she found that she had become accustomed to his smile. There was a certain symmetry to the way his teeth lined up that other smiles did not share. Never anybody else? She whispered. Of course not, he assured her. She laughed bitterly. You're lying. He smiled. His teeth chattered. They pecked at his lip like the beaks of birds. The teeth clicked up and down, his fingernails clicked up and down, and the typing typed out, second chance, Althea, second chance. Just Constance, just Constance. I won't be back again, said the vampire. The cape slithered off her bed. Either you take this chance, Althea, or you do not. Either you are popular again, or you are not. It's quite simple, really. The cape tightened around the vampire like a cocoon shutting in a dying butterfly. Now get a good night's sleep, Althea. Tomorrow's an important day for you. She shut her eyes. When she opened them, he was gone. She was alone. And that was the decision, really. Not Constance, but whether she could stand to be alone for the rest of her high school life. Unloved, unwanted, unspoken to. Yep, and she'd be taller somehow. She'd be taller, a baller. She would have Becky, who looked good and could call her, but... Hang on, gotta hydrate. I got the sillies. Hi, Jessie. It's nice to see you here. Althea has gone to school, found out she's not popular at all, and then the vampires come to her being like, you can keep Becky, but I want Constance. Yeah, it's implied that they don't recover, but I think Althea just didn't ask. They're very in the moment, teenagers. They're also little shitbags. Chapter 25. Her car still would not start, but she had scarcely reached the sidewalk when Kimmy Jo honked a horn, pulled over and shrieked, Althea, you can't walk in this weather. Get in. Why didn't you call me and say you needed a ride? You silly. You'll catch cold. Yeah, we would have a lot more questions than she did. She was just like, duh, can I be a cheerleader, please? Literally the dumbest wish in the world. Trust me, if you can get through high school unnoticed by anybody, do it. Under the radar. It's a wonderful place. The radar is a bad place. Anyway, Althea rode to school with the captain of the cheerleading squad. Ooh. Maybe that's how it works. Maybe they do replace them that way. I can't remember the ending of this, so it's good. Kimmy Jo talked of boys and cheers, got the best parking space in the student lot, and danced alongside Althea as they entered the lobby. I just love it that you're going out with Ryan, she confided. You and Ryan and Constance and Michael, you're such adorable couples. The whole school's crazy jealous of you, Althea. Some girl changing the artwork of the week shouted, Hi, Althea. Some boy pushing a cart of audiovisual equipment said shyly, Hi, Althea, how are you? And Becky bounded over. "Althea, are you ever going to forgive me?" she said. "For what?" said Althea, smiling. How pretty Becky was. How cute and bunny rabbit-like she looked, her nose twitching in anxiety. "For being nasty yesterday," said Becky, hanging her head. The ponytail fell sadly on her shoulder. "I don't know what came over me. I sat there at Pizza Hut and felt like the creep of the century. Don't be mad." "I'm not mad," said Althea. "We're friends." "You need a friend. Becky will be your friend." "I have her for good," thought Althea. "She will always be my friend." Coerced friendship is the only real friendship. Well, it is when you're a major dickhead. Sorry. It is the time of day to dissolve a pill under my tongue, and I didn't do it before the thing, so I'm just going to lisp a little bit. Yeah, Kimmy Jo bounded boobily around, her sports bra in need of replacing. Oh, come on, where are they? And Althea thought, wow, that Ryan is sure a boy. Yeah, friends are the people you own. Look, we all make friends in different ways. Some people like you because you're fun to be around. Some people like you because you're rich. Some people like you because a vampire is making them. You know, it's like life's not fair. Just gotta lean into it. I don't know if that's helpful. Give me a second. It's under my tongue, so I'm gonna lisp a little bit. Yeah. Becky said, Ryan won't see you till 5th period, so he asked me to give you this note. Okay. I don't think they need to dissolve. I'm just going to take them like a normal pill, otherwise I'm going to be lisping really badly. Alright. Becky said, Ryan won't see you till 5th period, so he asked me to give you this note. It was a sheet of notebook paper folded 6 times until it was a fat cube the size of a thumb. And it said, yesterday was out of control. Sorry. Really, really, really sorry. Are we still friends? Love, Ryan. P.S. The vampire says hi. Kimmy Jo said, I love notes. I see Ryan next period, Althea. I'll take the answer to him. No fear folding it up that I can't read it. They all laughed. Althea wrote with great flourish, Friends forever. Love, Althea. Hello, Phil Parker. How's it going? Yeah, the note did say, if you try a dick in your mouth. P.S. I was born once. Yeah, I was born. I'm just as good as Michael. And I have a telescope. Michael has a new car and Constance, but I have a telescope. But Michael has Constance. Hey, baby. You want to come up here? She wants something I can't give her. Because I don't know what it is, babe. School flew by. Never had those 50-minute class hours seemed so short. Never had lunch been so fun. Ryan sat with her, of course. Settled down very close so her wool skirt rubbed against his corduroy pants. Woo! Woo! His bright eyes were only inches from hers. He said, I didn't know how much fun it is to be with you till yesterday when you weren't around. And he blushed and said, I'm not letting that happen again. Which today we recognise as creepy, but, you know. Outside, the sky lightened and turned blue again, and the sun actually shone, melting the snow that had sealed the skylights. Yellow and gold filtered through, and Ryan asked her to go with him to the winter formal. Nobody had ever asked her to a dance before. Michael said, "Oh, Constance and I are going, of course. Let's the four of us go together. Would you like to do that, Althea? Maybe we could have dinner out before the dance. Constance loves elegant restaurants. She'll go anywhere if she can get really dressed up." The winter formal. Maybe the vampire is Tyler Durden. I don't think so, because I saw Tyler Durden with his t-shirt off, and he didn't look like the vampires described. He looked wonderful. But yeah, the winter formal and somewhere fancier than Pizza Hut in the same night. Ugh. 2 tables away, Jenny sat alone, pushing macaroni around on a lunch plate until it turned cold. Celeste tried to sit with old friends, but they scorned her, elbowed her away, and Celeste, sad and limp, sat with Jenny after all. Althea averted her eyes. After school, at her locker, Ryan, Michael, Dusty, Kimmy Jo, and Becky gathered. There was a heavy argument going because some people did not want pizza today, but were in hamburger moods. There was even a holdout for fried chicken. Oh my god, pick a fucking side. "You decide, Althea," said Michael. "We'll follow you." The boys stood on each side of her. Althea drank in their good looks, their smiles, their attention. Kiss. Oh, do you know that the people are on the television again? The wonderful people. Yeah, I got Uber Eats today, and the boy who delivered it had beautiful eyes. He just had the loveliest eyes. But, you know, he was a child, like a student. So. Thank you. She is a holy terror. And she is my little sweetheart. Aren't you? You're Flora. Floradora. Flora, and kiss. Kiss. Aww. That's how we do consent. If I say kiss and she doesn't touch her nose to my finger, then you're not allowed to pat her. Kiss. See? No kiss. If I tried to pat her after that, she would go, eh, because she knows I know the rules. Yes, she does have the loveliest green peepers. She's Flora. You're Flora. Yeah, she just decided that I was her mother now. Her actual cat mother used to bring in... It was an ex-source cat, and they just never got around to getting her fixed. So she would bring in her latest litter, drop them off in my room, and just like leave or take a nap on my bed where they couldn't reach her because she hated being a mother. And one of those cats just kind of, one night it stayed. It was like, yeah, no, I live here now. You're my mother, so you're really going to have to get into, you're going to have to care for me quite a lot. This is going to get very close, our relationship. And I was just like, yes. Thank you, Phil. Flora's named after my great-great-grandmother, who I never knew, but at one point we thought may have been a vampire still walking the earth. But then we found her death certificate, so she did die after all. Why are you sitting here? Why are you sitting here? Sorry, chapter. Let's go. Yeah, Pizza Hut, hamburger, fried chicken. You decide. The boys stood on each side of her. Althea drank in their good looks, their smiles, their attention. My locker, she thought. My locker is where the best people meet. Oh, macaroni cheese. Yummy. It's yummy. No one makes it quite like Mum did, though. Her secret was it came from the Edmonds cookbook that everybody has. There was no secret. Oh, my God. Okay, so I have these little props for D&D. And one of them is these fake cigarettes, which Sam Valentine uses because she's a little dirtbag halfling detective who gestures with it. And I put some catnip oil on the end of them once, so the cat would. Oh wait, no, on this end. There you go. Oh no, we dropped it. There you go. Smoke. Smoke? Oh no, smoking was yucky. They're actually also covered with clear nail polish to preserve their structure. Yes, I am here for stories, Mother. Not tales of my own youth, or which I know. You don't remember. You might. Ordinary kids slipped by, pressed against the far wall, so as not to disturb the popular crowd. Some kept their heads low to avoid notice. Others were brave and stared longingly at Althea and her friends. Celeste was in the first group. Celeste paused to rest, leaning against the wall, and she did not look as if she remembered the cheerleading crowd, and they certainly took no notice of her. Celeste fastened her eyes at the far end of the hall, planning the long journey. She picked up first one foot, and then the other, trudging on. Again, incredible depiction of mental illness. Well, depression anyway. Constance flew towards them. Everyone shouted, "You're late, Constance! Where have you been?" Michael held out his right hand, and still running, she clasped it so that they both swung a few feet till her momentum was stopped. Then they smiled secrets into each other's eyes and laughed a little. So fucking perfect. Althea's hands turned as cold as deep water in ancient lakes. "Hi, Althea," said Constance, smiling warmly. "We missed you yesterday." Althea's nerves felt as if somebody was stitching needles through her skin. "Thank you," she said. "You know what?" said Constance. "What?" said Althea. She was out of breath. Her lungs had shrunk. She could not squeeze another molecule of air into them. Constance put her arm around Althea's waist and gave her a slight squeeze. "You add so much when you're around, Althea." Ooh. Constance and Althea sitting in the shuttered tower where no one should ever go. Somehow the four of them were walking together in one straight line. Michael, Constance, Althea, and Ryan. Althea felt like royalty. But she was just being a dickhead because they were in a corridor. As the foursome passed, heads turned. People stopped talking, turning, or lockering, and feasted their eyes on the two couples. Constance said, "Do we have to join everybody else again today? Sometimes I get so tired of this crowd. Let's go somewhere, just the four of us, and get to know one another better." She smiled. Just for Althea. It's me she wants to get to know better, thought Althea. She wants us to be friends. Does she? "I'm still waiting to be allowed to use my telescope in your tower room, Althea." "Oh, is that what the kids are calling it these days? Using this telescope in her tower room?" Caroline B. Horny. "Sorry, I'm ruining it." She is super horny, though. His hand left hers briefly to touch her hair. He seemed almost in possession, as if it were his hair now. They reached Michael's car. Michael and Constance sat in front. Ryan and Althea sat in the back. "Well," said Michael, turning the key in the ignition. "Where are we going?" "Up to you, Althea. What is your command?" "Don't do it," she said to herself. Remember Jenny and Celeste, how pitiful they are. Don't do that to Constance. She's a nice person. She wants to be your friend. Don't do it to Michael. He loves Constance. There won't be a Constance left to love if you bring her into the dark path. But I have to, she thought. I can't have a life as lonely and worthless and dreary as last night. Nobody deserves that kind of life. I deserve friends and happiness. Oh, yes, please finish the quiz. Yes. I have to make a turn at that red light, said Michael, tossing a smile back over the seat to Althea. So you have to issue instructions before then. If you give him Constance, you'll have betrayed a third friend. If you don't give him Constance, you'll never have a friend again. Althea hung tightly to Ryan's hand. She said, let's go over to my house. There's plenty to do there. Plenty to eat. And tower rooms to go in, said Ryan, delighted, squeezing her hand back. And tower rooms to go in, said Althea. Constance clapped her hands. I missed your party, she said, and I felt so left out. Do I get to go up in the tower too? Of course, said Althea. End of chapter, and a good place to wrap it up for now, because I'm pretty sure the next one is going to be the finale. It's French for finale. What are you doing? No, you have to come and say goodbye to the people, because they love you. Look at how much they... Okay, alright, hey, go that way, There you go, good girl. She did not want that. I should have tried the kiss thing. Oh, Althea, the girl of your dreams. Put her arm around your waist. Then again, all these bitches are fake friends, so maybe it's not so bad. Apart from Jenny. But Jenny also betrayed her, so... Yeah, okay, outside. You're going to go outside. Bye, Florabelle. I will see you guys here tomorrow. At some point. No, she hates getting her photo taken. It's so hard to get one of her. But I got one last night. Of the poor little match girl dying in the snow. Sitting in front of her empty bowl. Thank you so much for being here, you guys. You're amazing. I love you all, and it gives me something to do and a reason to put lipstick on, so... Nope. Thank you, Phil. I used to have my hair like this for real. It was very expensive, and my hair did not like it. But, yeah. You guys have a good night. Be good to each other. And if you can't be good, be clever. I think it's a funny way to end it. I think it's smart.